1 minute to post time, approaching the gate. They are at the post. Now they're moving into the gate. Open range.
Hello, Billy Ho here, and we are going to do our final analysis slash betting strategy show for the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby. I am Billy Ho. This is Billy Ho Sports. Make sure you subscribe, like the videos. Appreciate all the support I've gotten over the past few weeks doing these Kentucky Derby videos. Keep in mind, you don't have to just unsubscribe right after this is over. I do a lot of sports content. I'm going to continue with the horse racing through the Triple Crown at least. And if interest stays that way, I'm just going to keep on doing it because it just seems to be so much popularity going on. And this has been actually the probably, as far as sports wagering and stuff goes, my longest tenure. I've been betting on horses since I was 10 years old. My dad taught me how to read a racing form when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So, we used to go to the track together all the time. My great aunt and uncle had not a luxury box, but it was a nice box on the 3rd floor of Churchill Downs right by the finish line. So it was a sweet, pristine, and they always used to give us free tickets and whatnot. But I digress. So this week, we've all studied the 20 horses. We've narrowed the pool down. I gave you my top 10 post draw and then top 10 after, I shuffled them up a little bit. And so what we're going to do now is go over some like betting strategies, exactas, trifectas, superfectas, win bets, all that kind of good stuff, but reasonable bankroll. I'm not going to do like spreading out and then do dollar, where you're spending $200 on a ticket. $1,600 on a trifecta bet for the Derby is not unusual. There's always Oaks and Derby day. That's a sucker bet in my opinion. Oaks, Derby, daily double. It doesn't really pay enough for the risk in my opinion, but that's an option. It's a fun option. People like to brag about that kind of stuff. You can look at my article. It's links in the description. It'll show you all kinds of different angles like dosage and final prep buyer speed figures and times like the closing 8th mile, closing 3/8 mile times. Sometimes there's angles to be played there. And now what stuff we're going to cover today is more like jockeys and trainers, those angles and the combo of the two, because sometimes there's hot jockey trainer combos and things of that nature. But I will go over some of that. So exotic bets, and we're going to try to find some value and see what we got. So let's go. Okay, first off, this is the article. Actually, I haven't updated it much lately. I didn't put any links to the videos, but all you got to do is just click this subscribe now button and then just click yes. That's all you have to do, and you're subscribed, and you'll get access to all my content. I do PGA, I do NFL, mostly those two. In addition, PGA is my main bailiwick. That because it's just something I kind of fell in love with about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a lot of fun. Little opening article, some weather. The weather looks fantastic for Derby Day. I think we might have a little. Oaks Day is going to be different. We don't know exactly what the storm. There's going to be some rain in the evening, so it might impact the Oaks. But later on in the evening, and you might have some Derby morning showers. So that's okay. But if it looks like we're going to get some sunshine and the temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 70s. So we should have a fast and furious track. So keep that in mind. So if you got horses that you think might be good on off tracks and whatnot, I can't, nothing's guaranteed in life, but it looks very, very likely that we're going to be dry and fast. Okay. That's last year's Derby. I was just going over it. Here's your post positions for the horses. And so what we're going to do is talk about betting on jockeys and or trainers is one strategy I like to use. I always lean toward the experience in riding the Derby. No two Derbies are usually the same. Jockeys that have multiple years in the saddle have a better idea on how to handle these trips. Jockeys who have good mounts, so not just jockeys riding also rans 99 to ones and 50 to ones every year, but jockeys that are riding contenders every year. Those are the kind of jockeys that I like. So I want to see them knocking on the door. So my favorite jockeys this year are Luis Saez on Tapit Trice. I like Arad Ortiz on Forte. Flavian Pratt is on Angel of Empire. Jose Ortiz, Kings Barnes. Johnny V, the venerable Johnny V, 51 years old, and he's probably the most experienced Derby jockey. He's got multiple winners. So I don't count out Reincarnate. Joel Rosario is on Disarm. I love Joel Rosario. He hit Churchill down scene. I can remember when he was a bug. He's like 38 years old now. I couldn't even believe that when I saw his age. But he was like, and a bug is like a rookie jockey where you get it's just a young buck. So they call him a bug because they're a little bug. And so, anyway, Tyler Gaffleone is riding verifying, and I kind of dig him because he seems to like it at Churchill. He's been one of the leading riders the last couple of years. Both Gulfstream, I kind of got onto him at Gulfstream during the COVID era when we were doing FanDuel contests, free contests on COVID and our discard. We had a blast with that, but Tyler was always good rider at Gulfstream. So he's experienced at Churchill. He's riding verifying on the inside post. And Tyler's one of them guys like the Calvin Burrells of the old days where he seems to like to get on that inside and save ground and like try to sneak up through. So that's not a bad spot for verifying. So I do want to mention though, verifying unseated his rider. It wasn't Rosario riding him. It was just an outrider, but he unseated the rider after following his 5 furlong just jog. It wasn't like a workout. It was just kind of a get him out there on the track and run him around a little bit. And he threw the jockey and then took off running. But the riders got to him fast. They did a good job of securing the horse. And so there's no big deal. Brad Cox said he was fine, no scrapes, no cuts or nothing. If he doesn't win the Derby, it's not because he unseated the rider. But you still don't like to see horses that agitated, especially when you know what's coming Saturday when you got 150,000 screaming fans. So you don't really like to see horses act out like that. So it's not really the best, but it happens. They're horses. I mean, they're wild animals for the most part. So anyway, trainers also getting into trainers with great barns. Always have more than one card to play in the Derby. If you're a really top trainer like Pletcher and Cox, Todd Pletcher, Brad Cox, having multiple horses. And then sometimes it could not be the favorite horse like Forte. It could be the other horse like, maybe King's Barnes. So a lot of times these horses, the other horse might even get it done. So keep an eye on that. So Todd Pletcher also has, and I likely use all three of these because Todd Pletcher is like the top dog in my opinion. Excuse me. Forte, Tapit, Trice, Kings Barnes. Uh, Probably be kind of hard for it to run 1-2, so I wouldn't just box all three of them in an exacta. It's possible though, you never know. Brad Cox has Angel of Empire, who I love, Hit Show, and Jace's Road. Angel of Empire could be the second choice favorite, and one I'll probably use as well, as we'll get to in a minute. Hit Show is live for a lot of the community, but not for me. I don't like that one post. Other trainers to look at, Steve Asmussen has more wins than any active trainer in North America, I think. Yet to taste victory in the Derby. He had looked like he had it in the bag last year with Epicenter leading down the stretch, but he got clipped by the Rich Strike at the wire, so we all know that. He does have Disarm, who I think is kind of a live long shot this year, so we're going to have a little bit of a Disarm out of Gunrunner, which I love Gunrunner. Also, John Sheriffs. who had his first Derby winner early in his career with Giacomo in 2005. And then he had a couple more after that. Then he went like 10 years without a Derby horse. He's training Skinner, who I think could be a live long shot as a closer as well. And then post positions, like we're looking at right here, are also important. I like to use them to weed out some of the horses that I might not like, or like Hit Show at number one, like I just mentioned. I was kind of getting high on Dharma Sotogake in that 17th post. Not that I'm superstitious, but it's 0 for 42 for a reason. I don't really know why, but the other thing with Dharma is horses out of the UAE Derby are 0 and 18, and the best finish they've ever had is 5th place. Now, the one thing I will say about Derma is he did something the other horses seem to have not done. Is he got over here early, got through quarantine, got on the track, got comfortable, so that does help his chances. But you got to take stands. I mean, you just can't. You start getting into too many horses, and you're going to be in trouble. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up the horse race calculator, gambling calculator. Everybody should Google this and get it. It will tell you how much it's going to cost, especially if you're going to the track. You don't want to be standing at the window like I've done before, not thinking properly, and and have one too many horses in the wrong spot, and then thinking you're spending $18 and it ends up being $40, and then you're too embarrassed to take it back, so you just pay the money. You don't want that to happen to you. So a gambling calculator is always good for horse racing, because then you can play around with it and see what you like. And so the first thing I'm going to look at is we'll start with trifectas. So basically, what I'm going to do is the winner is one thing. You want to this is called a wheel. When you do different horses, you wheel them around. And so basically what I'm thinking of is I'm going to have 3 different horses I like on top for the win. Then, of course, you have to have those same 3 horses in second and third place. But then you can start adding in additional horses for second and third. So like this would be, for example, would be what I'd call a 3 over 6 over 8. 3, 6, 8. And if for 50-cent trifecta is $45. That's a pretty cheap price for the Derby. Last year's trifecta obviously was huge. Rich Strike was like 88-1 winner, and it paid 15 grand. So it would have been 7,500 if you had something like this. No, so not bad for a $45 price tag. But with the horses I'm going to use up top, it's not going to pay that. But I do have plenty of like 30-1, 50-1 long shots mixed in that I think if they can crash the board in second or third, that the trifecta will pay more than enough to cover $45. Now, obviously, I think, now don't quote me on this, but I think most wagering like TVG and Twin Spires and whatnot will allow you to take it to 10-cent tries. I'm not 100% sure. That would be 10%. That is something that I save for Superfectas. But 10-cent, if they let you do 10-cent trifectas, you can obviously spread a shit ton more horses. But 50 cents is the way to go if you're just going like with a pool of 8 like I got here. So basically, say for an example, Forte, Angel of Empire, Tapit, Trice. I know those are the 3 favorites, but they're likely 3 I'm going to use on top. So you get to them, and then say underneath you go 4 more horses: Mage, King's Barnes, Disarm, Skinner, or you add in Skinner at the bottom, or Practical Move, if however you need to go about doing that. But that's kind of how you do it with trifectas. Soon, and then you can experiment. You're like, well, do I want one more on the winning edge here? So you just click in one more horse, and it's going to tell you it's going to jump exponentially no matter what you do. If you add one more down here, it jumps from 45 to 52. So you have to be careful where you're going. The bottom part is going to be the cheapest add, but if you add here and here, it's going to, like I said, exponentially. Basically, is how it goes. So that is trifecta, and I am going to use those 3. I'm basically going to have If I go back over here to my post positions, this was, I believe, down here. There's dosage, final preps. This is the times I was talking about: 3/8, 1/8. I did my own math on some of these, and it's kind of hard to do. So they might not be 100% accurate, but they're pretty close. I did a little bit of rounding off, let's say that. So pre-draw top 10, and then this is post-draw top 10. So if I start eliminating horses, the first few that I was going to eliminate was Derma Sotogake because of the UAE thing. And then verifying probably would be next, kind of because of the post position too. Even though and Gaffleone, I think his best finish in the Derby's like sixth or something. He's not super experienced, but he has rode enough. But he's just kind of a, I don't know. He's a top tier jockey. Don't get me wrong, but you got to start taking stands. So like verifying Derma, practical move would be my first three eliminations from this page. Mage would be next because Mage won't have Luis Saez. I think he has Javier Castellano. So I'm going to bump Mage down. So Mage will probably be in like the third flight, in my opinion. Castellano is not on the level as Saez. So I am kind of down on Mage. So anyway, coming back to the wager calculator, jump over to Exacta, and we're going to start with $1 because that's generally when you go at it. So if you do the same three horses up top, and then I'll just click the box to fill it. See, this button right here. You can click and that boxes them. So I'll just uncheck that. That way I've already got my three in there, and then I can add just three more at the bottom. So I can go 3/6, and that's a $15 ticket for $1. And the trifecta, it or Exacta, I should say, probably if one of my winning horses comes in and another horse is fairly long, it might pay $60 or something like that, $80 if you get a real long shot in there second. But you get half of that. So a $15 bet can pay you $40 to $60, somewhere in that range. That's kind of a normal type of bet for a regular race, but you never know. I mean, you could say you toss in one of these longer shots and you spend the $20, and then the longer shot hits, and then the Exacta pays $200, and then you get for $20, you turn it into $100. So that's kind of what I'm at there. But I'm probably going to dial it down to either the 15 or maybe a $12 bet on the Exacta, and I'll use probably the same three up top: Forte, Angel of Empire, Tap at Trice, and then maybe like Kings Barnes, Disarm, and Skinner with them underneath. So Kings Barnes, Disarm, Skinner, that would be $15. And then that way, if like Disarm or Skinner come in second, then this is going to probably be a nice little payout. So that's basically what you're looking at with that. So the Exacta is less expensive, but it pays less. So obviously. Now Superfecta. Let's do that before we close out of here. Dollar, and this is kind of a fun thing to do, and you absolutely should do 10-cent Superfectas unless you have a lot of disposable income, because this can add up to be a lot of money. Now, what you can do is, like, especially at parties and stuff, which is a lot of fun, is get a handful, 2, 3 other buddies, or even 6 or 8 or however many people, and everybody throw in $10. And then you got, say, like $100 to spend on a trifecta, 10-cent trifecta. And then that way you can go, like, say your top 3 choices, we'll box them and then uncheck that so we can spread. So then you can go like 3/5 and then over 7 and then down here to 9 or even 10. Like, that's a big spread right there. And let's see what that's going to cost. $42. So you can really, really get at it. And then maybe hopefully what you can do is add up here. So you start out with 5. And then that way it's $70. And say you and 7 guys or gals, not meaning to be gender biased or nothing, but you guys is in just the general term guys. Uh, but 7 dudettes, whatever, throw in $10 a piece, and you could get a big freaking spread here. You'd be boxing first and second, but you could add in, say, boom, boom, and then you get to $100. So you can play around with it, figure out what you like to do and whatnot. But uh, then you're gonna get like you'll see what 10 cent Superfecta in the Derby. If you get one of these bombs in there, or 2 bombs, second or third, or like a rich, I don't even know what that Superfecta paid last year. The Trifecta paid 15,000, so the Superfecta probably it must have been enormous. Go Google it, and you'll see. And then it'll tell you the 10 cent try, because it might be $1 try, whatever it paid, and then you get a tenth of it. So you just knock a zero off the end. You know how to do math. Excuse me, getting winded here. So basically, that's kind of how it goes, as far as like wagering and betting and whatnot. I hope that was helpful for inexperienced bettors. But just Google wagering calculator, horse racing, whatever. There's all kinds of different ones. I like that one from America's Best Racing, because it's a little bit clearer, and some of them are a little bit harder to do with the drop downs and whatnot. But anyway, so win bets, and everybody picks their winners. What I'm probably going to do is, most of these places like Twin Spires and TVG offer money back specials. So your first $10 win bet, if the horse hits the board second or third, then you get your money back, and then you have $10 on the horse. So if he wins, you just win your money. So I'll probably take $10, put it on Tap It Trice, and hopefully I can get 6-1, and that'll be fine. The Big Gray, hopefully he mean mugs some horses and gets through there, and doesn't run into too much trouble, and we can get her done, and have a fun Derby. Now, I will say this: over the last 25 years or so, I've picked about a half a dozen Derby winners, but 2 of them I don't really actually count that well. American Pharaoh and Justify were such locks those years. They were obviously the Triple Crown, especially American Pharaoh. Justify was a little bit wonky, even though he was such a favorite. He was that first unraced 2-year-old, so there was doubt in people's minds, but he still went off as the favorite, and he won the Triple Crown. But the other one, Silver Charm 97, I liked because I had the Exacta that year. Captain Bodget, I think. Charismatic was a big hit for me in 99. Street Sense in 07, I predicted exactly how that race would go. Calvin Bow Rail came down the rail in a slop, got it done for me that year. And of course, after the Pharaoh and Justify, my last winner was Authentic, and I kind of like that one. That was actually the horse I picked for some value, and I did the $10 money back special on that one. And he won the race, and I got back, I don't know, 60, I forget. He wasn't super big odds, but it was a nice payout, 60, $80, something like that. But anyway, good luck this weekend, everybody. I so appreciate everybody watching. Stick around, because like I said, I'm going to do the whole Triple Crown. Stay involved, stay subscribed. You don't have to unsubscribe. I don't do that to other people, because for somebody like me, I'm really, really trying to get up to the 1,000 subscribers for the monetization, and then go from there. So I appreciate everybody sticking around. So stay subscribed, keep hitting that like button. Have a good time this weekend, win some money, be safe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again.